So, because it's complete lies, we've got to start asking ourselves a few questions about what that conversation was really about. Now, we could say that Lee had that conversation to kind of obfuscate the truth, that he really was going to take the gun in on that Friday morning. And that is what the story has been intended for us to think, that he was the lone assassin. He took the gun in on the Friday morning and took it into the building and got it together, set it up and shot the president from the 6th floor. I don't think so. And I don't think so for quite a lot of reasons. Okay, so the first reason is that Wesley's account is that the rifle was taken in bits in a paper bag package. Now, I don't know about you, and I don't know anything about rifles. I'm in the UK. We don't have a gun culture. It's illegal here to carry guns and work with guns unless you've got a licence. But I'm pretty certain that when you have a gun, it's a heavy package. And if you've got a gun in bits, bits are going to flail about everywhere. I don't think that you would carry that in a paper wrapping. I think that it would bust through the packaging. I think it would be too heavy. The bits would fall to one end. Wesley said that Lee took the package on the morning, came to his carport, opened his car door, put the package on the back seat. They then got in the car and Wes turned around and said, "What's in the package, Lee?" And Lee said, "Curtain rods. We had a conversation about that yesterday. We know that that package didn't have curtain rods in it." That package was only 27 inches long, according to Wesley's testimony, according to Lily May's testimony, who actually allegedly watched Lee from the window put the package in the car. So that package, that long package, was said to fit underneath the arm, cupped in the hand underneath the arm. Well, we all know that a gun is going to stick further up and stick somewhere up here. So that it can't possibly be a gun. It can't possibly be what it's purported to be. So, because it's not the gun, and Wesley actually says now that he doesn't believe it was the gun. But if it wasn't the gun and it wasn't the curtain rods, what was that package about? So I maintain there was no package. This package is just a made-up story. Okay. Now, where did the package come from then? Lee had gone back on the Thursday night to Ruth Payne's house in Irving, and a lot of his stuff was in the garage. Okay. So this gun is supposedly lying in the garage, wrapped in a baby's blanket, all right, tied up with string with granny knots. Now, there's a few problems with that, because the Oswalds were not rich people. They had 2 tiny children. Who would wrap a rifle in a baby's blanket? Who would do that? It just doesn't make any sense at all in my mind. You just wouldn't wrap a greasy, dirty rifle in a blanket. Who would have a rifle that somebody could step over in the garage when you've got little children? That doesn't add up. And why would a Marine use granny knots to tie it? Furthermore, and this is the most important point, we've got Wesley saying that rifle was brought into the Texas School Book Depository in a brown paper wrapping. And we've got Ruth Payne telling the police the next day that there's an empty blanket on the floor with granny knots kind of flailing about, and that the rifle must have come out of there. She tries to confirm it with Marina. Marina only speaks Russian, so we don't know. Ruth could have actually said anything to Marina at that point, and she might have said anything back, and Ruth may have translated that to the police. Might have been a completely different conversation for all we know. How do we prove that conversation even occurred in that garage when the police turned up? So there's this blanket that the police find, and Ruth is telling them via Marina, via the translation, this blanket had the rifle in it. Problem. because we've got Wes talking about that rifle being carried into the Texas School Book Depository in a brown paper wrapping. So who would take the time to remove a rifle out of a baby's blanket, wrapped up, all nice and tight, bundled up, to remove it bit by bit, because it needed assembling, remember, bit by bit, into a brown paper wrapping which was not as satisfactory? It's not going to happen. And then skedaddle out the door quick as anything to get in the car or to go wherever. Okay, it's just it doesn't make sense. If you were going to take a rifle out of a garage, you would just pick up the whole bundle. You wouldn't spend time undoing the package, just taking out the rifle that was wrapped in a brown paper package. You wouldn't take time to unwrap the rifle from the blanket and put it into the brown paper. No, you wouldn't do that. You'd take the whole, wouldn't you? You would take the whole thing. You'd take the whole thing. And that's exactly what you would do. So we've got a problem with this package story that Wesley has presented to us. So I'm just saying that there's some problems with this story, and we need to really address the truth of the matter, because if there's no package, and if there's no riding with Lee and Fraser going into the book depository them together, this whole story that's coming from Ruth Payne about the rifle being in that garage, this whole story about the ride-in, the lone assassin theory, is telling us that there's lies been told by people that shouldn't be telling lies. They're nothing to do with it, are they? Ruth Payne, the Frasers, they live 12 miles away. Why would somebody like that be telling lies? There can only be one conclusion, that these people are involved. Okay, so I'm going to talk more about the package because there's more to say, but that's what I want to present for now. So stay tuned because there's going to be more.